Okay, this is the first video that we're going to have on actually dimensioning a drawing. Uh, I, I want to address a couple of things before we get started with it, and one is some of the videos that you're going to see were produced by Mr. Cooper, the previous instructor, and I'm slowly being able to update those, but you'll see some of his videos. The title bar is a little different. Okay, the colors, layers are a little bit different. Okay, Mr. Cooper used keyboard shortcuts a lot in dimensioning, so you're going to see some of that, and that's good. If you can remember those and memorize those, it will speed things up for you. But it was also before the new dimension command was put into AutoCAD. So with this new dimension command, that kind of speeds things up a lot in itself. Okay. Now you'll notice on my, I've kind of customized my layout a little bit, and then I've docked my layer properties and my properties panels over here to the left side, mainly because I have to deal with layer properties a lot when I'm grading your work. So I keep that docked over there and minimized, um, so that I can access those pretty quickly. And you just hover over it and it'll pop up and you move back away and it goes away. Over here on the right side, I have a couple of the old style menu um, blocks put over here. This one is object snaps, and then this one is the dimensioning toolbar. Sometimes I find it quicker to be able to come over here and click on one of these as opposed to having to, come down here and or go through the different things. Just not a big deal. It's just if mine looks different than yours, now you know why. All right, so now we're going to start with dimensioning this drawing. So you'll need to open up your copy of the finger guide, drawing number 514. And if you had errors in the drawing, you need to correct those errors before you actually start the dimensioning process. Okay. First thing, you need to copy in the dimension style. In the previous video was using the Design Center to do that. So you want to make sure uh, that you've got your decimal dimension style brought over. Okay. Let's see, I'm on dimension layer. These things are good. All right. Next, you want to scale and lock your viewport. I've already done that here. So I want to scale it as a 1-to-1. I want to make sure it's centered up in my window here, and then I want to lock that. Okay. Also, let's look at my hidden line. See how long my hidden line is? The dash there, it's 1/4 of an inch. So we want to do a line type scale. We're going to do 0.5. I think that will work nicely. And that was a global. I just did a global line type scale. I changed my center line size also. So I can check that. That's, 0.123. That's close to 1/8 of an inch, which is about what those should be. Okay. Title bar. You want to make sure your title bar is filled out. Okay. In Mr. Cooper's videos, he just put initials. I really prefer you to put your last name because sometimes I have people with the same initials in the class. It makes it a little difficult. Most of the drawings in the textbook will have a material listed under the drawing. This one is cold rolled steel, abbreviated CRS, so you want to put that in. Drawing number will be the assignment number out of the book, 5.14 or 5-14. Size, that is the size of paper that you are working on. And this is an A size sheet, so size should be A. Now we're set up ready to dimension. So we want to go, we want to look at how we're going to dimension this thing. And as a general rule, the drawings in the textbook, most of them are isometric views. In a general rule, whatever view it's dimensioned in the ISO is a good view for it. That's general. The main thing for you to remember in dimensioning, because once you leave school and go to work somewhere, you're not going to be copying out of a book. Excuse me, you're not going to be copying out of a book. You're just going to have a sketch and you got to come up with a dimension. The best place to put dimensions is in the view in which you see the feature. Okay. And never ever dimension to a hidden line. If you have to dimension to a hidden line, chances are you need another view, a section view, a left side view, a bottom view, something like that. I think of all the courses that we have going on here at the college, there's only one drawing in which we pretty much have to dimension to a hidden line, and it's just a bizarre drawing that we do. All right, so let's start with this. um, Usually it's best to kind of dimension your angles first because they tend to take up a lot of room. So however you want to get into the command, you go with the dim command and let's go angular. And so let's go ahead and put that one in first. We'll pull it out. Okay, that's our angle. Now remember, every angle needs two dimensions. And so in this one, we're going to give it a height and a length. I could have gone with a length over here on the right side there for that, but this is how it's done in the book, so that's what we're going to go with. Okay. And then let's look at this one up here. So and I want to dimension the length of that in the top view. That one didn't pull out 3/8 of an inch. We can fix it. I want to dimension that one up here in the top view. In the book, it shows it down here, but here it's actually where the clip is. All right, so let's go this one. Oh, that's not what I want. Sorry, I wanted this. What? That was bizarre. Object snaps. All right, and so I got that one placed. Now I want to pull that down to here and move back in. All right, so I want to get that placed first. Now let's go with a continue dimension and go ahead and hit the rest of these across here. All right, I like that, but see, put these numbers way out here, so I want to pull those numbers back in a little bit. You just got to watch your object snaps on these when you're moving them around. Oh, one thing I didn't show you, I changed the precision in my dimension style before I started this. So I just went in dim style modify, and I changed my precision to 2 decimal places. Okay, that works for this drawing because everything is at least is 2 decimal places in this drawing. So that's, excuse me, a change I made. Also, I don't know if you noticed or not, but I typically leave center marks turned off. You can turn them on center line when you're doing your drawing, and then you place the actual center mark. But then I turn them off when I'm dimensioning, or else you end up with 2 center marks on top of each other when you dimension a radius. Okay. So since we're talking about radius, let's go ahead and do that one. Okay. Now, normally we put all dimensions outside the object. Sometimes it is permissible to put one on the inside, especially if it's a radius or a diameter dimension and it's not confusing. Okay, so this is pretty simple. So we can put that one on the inside like that. All right, now let's look what else we need. We got this notch feature over here. So we want to dimension everything for that. So I'm going to come down here with this one first. That looks better. Okay, because this one was too close. Remember I said we could fix that later, so now I'm going to pull it out I'm just going to get a little object tracking over there. All right. Now I need to dimension the left side of the notch and then coming up. And then we've got a continue dimension going up there. So that takes care of those things. Let's see, I need to locate my center mark for that. So let's go ahead and do that one. Now, dimensioning these, if you snap to the end of the center line, notice it leaves a gap right there. Okay, and that's normal. Okay, but for dimensioning against the center line, that's not how it should look. What you want to do is you snap where the center line crosses an object line, so we're actually down on top of the center line. Okay, so that it appears to be a continuous line across there. Don't go to the center of the circle because then it overwrites that center line gap right there. But come down onto the center line because if I click the dimension, you see the handle is there where the center line crosses the object line. That's good practice. Okay, that looks good. Okay, that's everything in the top view. So front view, the main thing I got a height. Excuse me. I got two heights and a length. So let's go with our overall height here. We always want to have a overall height, length, and width dimensions. So we've got that one. I need to dimension the length of this across. I could place it up here. I could place it down below. Oh, and here's another little trick. Don't know if you've seen this one yet or not, but I go into dimension and see my options are specify line or select object. And because I know that this is just a single line, I'm going to hit enter on my keyboard and I can pull that object out. Okay. All right. And then I'll have to click endpoints and things like that. So if I know that the line is what I want, then that's one way I can do that. Now this is yeah, I guess this would be okay. It's getting a little close, but it's better to have the dimension outside of the object, not crossing, as opposed to putting that dimension down below here. Okay. So let's well, I'll go ahead and show you how it would look down here at the bottom. So we'll go there to there. Well, that was not good. It pulled off of that upper object snap. Did it again. Object snap's a key sometimes. So we'll just pull that down. That looks about right. All right. Now I could go with a baseline dimension, but see it's picking up the wrong end of that. So if I go S and select, choose the other end, and then come out and click on that end. And that will give me a baseline dimension offset there. Now this distance is based on what we have in our dimension style. Right now it's set at, I think, 3/8 of an inch. That's kind of big. It should be a 1/4 of an inch. So let's pull that back in just a little bit. That looks better. Okay, so this 0.94, either below or above would be okay, be acceptable. The problem with it below is that you've got your extension line crossing over the object. Sometimes it's not a, it's you can't avoid that, but you're trying to make this thing look as clearly as you can. Okay, not confusing at all. So really, I think the one at the top looks better. So let's move this back up a little bit. That looks about good there. Okay. All right, now then let's see. We need a height dimension here. Oh, I got my object snap turned off. Okay. And I need a length dimension over here. That's a little close there. Let's check that with a line. 0.33. All right, so let's move that down a little bit. That looks better. For some reason, I don't know if it's the center lines. All right, so now let me check my notes here. I got those three. I've got overall depth right here, overall length, overall height. Okay. For my angle, I've got two dimensions here. Okay. For this angle, I've got two dimensions. I've got a radius and a location on the circle. Those coming across there. These two here, there. Okay, so everything looks good. I've got it fully dimensioned. Now, a couple of words of warning, especially like right here, and also over here on this side. Usually we do not dimension all the way across an object. I've got an overall width, okay, right here. And so with these dimensions, all I need are these first two. I don't need this last one, okay, because I can calculate that. It is what it is. It's 2.3 minus, the 1.9. So it is what it is. What determines which dimension you leave out is when you get into the precision of your object and the tolerancing. Okay, what sizes are the most critical? And this will be covered in a later course on how best to determine that. For now, your best example is to follow the textbook. Okay, so that all looks good. I got center lines, I got LT scaled, I checked my line types, filled in my title bar. So that looks good. Be sure and save your file as directed in the assignment in Blackboard, and then submit that and turn it in.